Waste is a resource. Waste has value, and we have to stop wasting our waste.
Do you know where to go? It seems from here the path has gone away, away. The road ahead, the words we said are passing through my mind again today, today, as these trees begin to sway.
Really, what's in waste is four things. Number one is the unrecognizables. That's about 10% by weight of what's in our garbage cans. The second thing that's in our waste stream is the organics. Now, what's organics? Paper, fiber, food, leather, textile, typically about 65%. The third thing is inorganics. Glass, metal, asphalt, brick, concrete, stone, rock. The inorganics is about 23% on an average by weight. And then the fourth and final thing is household hazardous waste. Paint cans, that's the stuff that's down in the basement. It's out on the garage shelf. It's under the bathroom sink. Typically, that's 2% of the weight. We're now up to 100% of what's in our waste stream.
Recycling is source separation. So basically, that's the removal of recyclable materials from the waste stream before they go in the garbage.
Most of the material that you bring in and out of your house on a daily basis, I'd say, comes from a grocery store for the most part. It's cardboard boxes, bottles, cans. Most of that is recyclable. And at a facility like this, the glass is getting separated from everything else. Paper is for the most part, either newspaper or mixed paper. And then cardboard is what we call the industry term is OCC. And that's, that's one product. So that's sort of the fiber and glass side. And then with the plastics, you have the 1 through 7. The big ones with the plastics are really the ones in the twos. Water bottles. So that's number 1 is PET. Number 2 is detergent bottles and milk jugs. And that's HDPE. And then 3 through 7s is sort of a much broader category. And that gets into each of those numbers. 3 to 7 represents styrofoam, rigid plastics. Paper, for the most part, gets turned, goes to a paper mill, gets turned into a slurry and a pulp, and then turned back into paper. PET bottles get shredded and turned into fill for blankets or polypro jackets, like fleece jackets. Glass gets turned back into glass bottles. Aluminum back into aluminum cans.
When they come into the recycling center here, they're offered more opportunities to actually recycle materials, all types of plastics, which is a big portion of the waste stream, except for number 6, and that's your crunchy plastic or your styrofoam. Yard waste, grass clippings, leaves, brush, that has been banned from the landfills for years because it causes a lot of methane gas and has other volatile organics in it that, as they decompose, can cause issues. So recycling is important because by volume it's about 3/4 of your waste stream. So you can divert 3/4 of your garbage just by doing a lot of recycling.
That's the real advantage of recycling, is that you're saving that space in a landfill, and you're taking material and turning it into another product.
Sustainability would be living within a small area, so you're reducing all of your impacts, whether it be environmental or your carbon footprint.
In other words, we're not exploiting resources in a way that will inhibit the ability of future generations to live a similar lifestyle. What is far more important in terms of our ability to achieve ecological sustainability is not the number of people, but rather how those people are living. People living in consumer societies like ours, like Western societies, the United States, Europe, Japan, the levels of consumption in which we engage far exceeds that of people in the rest of the world.
I find that we want to just take the easy way. And the consumerism that happens today wants us to think that way. They constantly train us to think that way. You need this, you need that, you need this, you need that. You need a new charger for your phone. You need the new cell phone. It's the latest update. We have the new software. You need this now. You need this. The consumerism has created this concept in us that we have to constantly keep buying something new.
And so in this sort of excessive consumption that we are socialized to do, we are bombarded with messages daily saying consume, consume, consume. So getting through a message of don't consume or consume less is an uphill battle.
That is where upcycling came to me. Is the sense is that why? Why can't I do it myself when I can't? And recycling is a process from transformation that's done through a procedure. In upcycling, there's no manufacturing factory process through it. It's just taking something and then freshening it back up and making it look new again.
The green pallet takes shipping pallets that companies usually throw away after they're done using them, and takes those shipping pallets and makes furniture out of them. And basically his whole store is that mentality of there's so many resources that you could use and so many things that people don't usually use. And he makes beautiful things like tables, whole bedroom sets too. And it's all out of shipping pallets that would usually be thrown away.
When we created the green palette was about a palette, meaning of a painter's palette, using in all of the different colors and creating art from that. And that is what we are about, is creating something out of recycled materials, creating something out of sustainability itself.
It's very community building, sustainability. The idea that there's so many local resources that you don't really need to venture out to other countries, other continents, just for either basic necessities or things that you want.
There's a guy down the road, I think he has like snow machines and lawnmowers. So he gets shipments in, I'd say every 3 or 4 weeks. He gets about 5 or 6 different pallets. And these pallets are gigantic pallets that they put these tractors on. And then he leaves them on the side of the fence, and I was like, hey, do you mind if I take these? I really could use these. He's like, please, by all means, you'd be doing me a huge favor, because it's impossible to get rid of these. These things are like 9 feet by like 6 feet wide, and they weigh a ton. But it's amazing wood. I'm talking like the most purest cypress wood you could ever imagine, clean and brand new almost. So I take it all. So many people from the city, mainly, will come to me with problems. They have a limited space, they need it to function in 30 different ways, and they don't want it to cost a fortune to customize to make it. And that's what we do. We make beds that fit right into these spaces. We make beds that have headboards, that have a storage headboards, that sit low, or that have the certain kind of specifications as far as the width and the depth of them, and we don't charge them anything extra for. So we're customizing piece by piece for people, sourcing all reclaimed materials and using all recycled elements in the composition of the pieces as well. There's a process to it. Each palette tells you what to do with it. That's how I see it. You find some pallets that have paint on them, and you find some pallets that are all dented up, or you find some pallets that are really just brand new, pristine. And that's when like it tells you, the palette's like, oh, this is like the clean ones, you want to make something really nice out of those. The dirty ones, you want to make something rustic out of those. And the painted ones, well, you want to do something artistic with those. The green palette basically was a manifestation of everything that I've done in all my years of working. It culminated the Christmas art that I had and the wonder that the store creates. It culminated the concept of when I went and sourced this furniture that's all made out of reclaimed materials to be in existence here. And it culminated a new part that I had recently dawned on with my fiance, where we both had this great passion for education. And we felt that education was missing something in the schools. It was missing the art being taught at the same time as the lecture plan. And what we said was, let's use recycled materials as the art to combine with the actual educational platform. We're not teaching enough about recycling. We're teaching it in one fold, where we're saying don't do that. You know, you don't do that, you put it in here, and then we're going to take it and make something out of it. And that's great. But we need to go further. We need to teach the youth and everyone how it's actually made. What are the ingredients, the components to it? Why is it not biodegradable? And why are we using these chemicals to make these things? You know, I mean, I have 2 daughters that come home and from school. Both one's in 1st grade and the other one's in 4th grade. And I say to them as soon as they come home, "What did you do today? How was school?" "Oh, so Susie didn't want me to sit next to her today, but Olivia did, so I sat next to Olivia, and then Charlie was bothering me. He was throwing a paper plane at me, and I didn't like it." Okay, learn. I didn't mean like your social activities. What did you learn? "Oh, I think we learned a song. We learned how to clap, and we did this song." That was the takeaway. So it makes you think. At that young age, this is what they're taking away from a whole 6-hour day at school.
Now, reaching children at a young age is crucial. You know, the norms that we, come to accept begin in childhood. So the earlier we can reach people with messages about the importance of environmental sustainability or of recycling, the better off we are.
We do puppet shows here where the parents come and bring their kids, and then they get to interact with us, and we do foreign language with Spanish teaching. The kids come here, we show them how we took a taco shell box and we cut it almost in half and then make it form a mouth and where it talks, and then we let them decorate it with eyes and a face and using all materials that we have on hand, and then we make that puppet come to life for them where they can start to make this puppet talk and they interact with a puppet that we have that interacts with them. The fact that they see this recycled material that they find in their own garbage or their own receptacles in their own home, then they realize, it dawns on them, "Oh, I just did this the other day where we took a box and cut it up and did this. What else could I do?"
That is the best age group to educate, because they're just so open and they're very committed and they just kind of get it. And then, of course, when they take that information home, they can reteach their parents in case they forgot.
Oh, the parents love it. I mean, most of the parents just are laughing along with the puppet shows and encouraging the kids to continue to play. What happens if we teach the children at a young age with these materials? They're going to end up finding things to do with these recycled materials that none of us would have even thought of or conceived, because their minds don't have the same things going on that our minds have right now. We have so many responsibilities, so many things to think about. These minds are just entering the world of thinking about things. So the first things that dawn on them, they're going to be able to elaborate and evolve on in a much longer existence than we could ever imagine.
We all live on this planet, and we all should care about the place that we live. I don't understand how someone could live somewhere and not care about it or not want to help improve it, honestly, because why not have a better environment for everyone? And part of that is recycling and reusing.
And we could place the onus on the individual and say, you've got to recycle, recycling's the right thing to do, well, everybody should be recycling. And expect individuals then to sort of, carry around their waste with them all day until they seek out or come upon one of the few hidden recycle bins. But we have to recognize collectively as a society, we need to create, the supports. We need to create the infrastructure. We need to create the laws. We need to create the policy that facilitates this behavior.
The fundamental base of changing society is education. Everything is based on that. Raising the awareness and using education is how we're going to change things for the future. It's the only way.
Say, if you can do something as strange and awkward and as simple with garbage, think what we can do with everything else. And you have this one thing that bugs the hell out of you. It just doesn't feel good, it's not right, and you don't like it. If every human being on this planet were to take that one item and go see it through completion, we would change this world so dramatically overnight that we wouldn't know what it looked like tomorrow.
Lift up your eyes and you'll see that the sky stretch for miles and miles around. Lift up your chin, let the sunlight in, 'cause there's nothing for us in the ground. You could be in the air here with me, and we could be